Look at this.
On today's episode of Watch Share Go, we grew up an engine out of a Prius and maybe put a new engine in a Prius. What is going on, guys? I'm Watch Share Go, and today we are here with the engine for Josh's 2006 Toyota Prius. We just picked this engine up, and it was super easy to find. Apparently Prius engines are plentiful, and it was pretty cheap, and apparently the engine stand doesn't fit under the trailer. So that's interesting. So they loaded this bad boy up with a forklift. We are going to unload it with the cherry picker here, and it should be a nice easy lift because it looks like it weighs nothing, and hopefully it's an easy in and out of the car. Uncharted territory, like I said in the last video. This is an EV. We've never done one or had to disconnect the hybrid battery or anything like that. Easy in the Volt. I know where it's at. In the Prius, I have no idea.
Need a chain.
Yep, probably need a chain. Going up.
I believe in it.
Yeah, it seems like it's doing okay.
I feel like I could carry that engine.
Honestly, I think you can.
You steer, I'll push.
Okay, steering. Do you guys have parts for a Prii? I know it's not like a normal car.
A what?
The Toyota Prius.
A Prius?
Yeah, you can't just buy those parts anywhere, right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I come here and get them.
I didn't buy a Prius. This comes out of the back of the store. You bought a Prius? Okay, we got Prius parts. Fluids, a belt, a filter, and the gasket is on the way. Okay, back from O'Reilly's, loaded up on parts. I'm gonna drive a Prius. Go ahead and press F in the comments below because rip. How do you do this? Huh. So there's this joystick here. I've used the joystick. Oh, it has a backup camera. This thing's sweet. I don't have a backup camera. I believe in you, Prius. This is one very angry car. Look at all these lights. Every time this thing tries to run the starter, it's pretty funny. And we'll let auto VIN check do the diagnostics here. Auto scan. Oh, there's no faults, dude. You're good. We got a pass right here.
You definitely just cleared all those.
I kind of think that Firestone definitely cleared all the codes. All right, we are done scanning with the old 808. Let's see the report. We have some faults, as you can see, 4 hybrid control system faults, a whole bunch of other faults. But those ones don't matter. Engine failed to start, battery control system, engine failed to start, battery control system. Passenger solar circuit has a current fault. What's funny is the occupant classification sensor, right front collision detection, needs zeroed. There's a lot of different paint on this car, so it's definitely been involved in a few different accidents, and that fault's probably been here for a very, very long time. So I'm gonna go ahead and export the PDF of all this fun stuff, and then we can get to work. Starting off real quick here, we're gonna pull the battery. Managed to get the hatch open, that's good. I'm gonna pull this thing forward so we have a little bit of room to work with. It looks like we just need to grab a tin to pull that off, and it's a factory battery. Unbelievable. Everything in this is Toyota. Battery disconnected, getting this tow hook back out of here, and Josh is checking out some of the other people that did this from the top. It looks like it actually comes out really easy from the top if you pull the cowl. So we're gonna remove all of this plastic right here, and the engine should come right out the top. It's definitely supposed to be a subframe drop, which would be easier, but we don't have a lift or an engine pulling table, like you saw from the car ninja in Tyler's last video. So this is just fine. Come out of the top, no problem. We'll get it done fast. Okay. We're just hopping right on in here with the impacts, doing a little wiggle. Got all those off in like 10 seconds. Hood just falls off, 4 bolts. This one will take a lot of wiggling, I think. I bought the special tool to pull that if you want to make sure you don't scratch it at all. Or you can use the other special tool that obviously works perfectly.
It's a $500 car?
Yeah. I bought it just for doing the stop in these BMWs.
Oh, got it.
And then you got it exactly with no problems. You don't want to break anything underneath it. You got to be careful. I've definitely run into ones where people have destroyed them doing that. Unbolting. Oh, there's a couple clips right there. Push fasteners. Something's holding the cowl in the middle. Right here. Nothing. I'm just being dumb. It's just clips. Cool. Came right off. Hey, now you look like the hero, and I did all the work. I took out all 2 of the fasteners. I guess I'll pull this plug and we'll get all the wiper stuff out of here.
I think that stays.
I I doubt it.
Think this whole tray comes out?
Yeah, it comes right out. 10.
I'm trying to read the walkthrough, but you're going too fast.
Hey man, you gotta memorize the walkthrough. Fun stuff right here. Hey, gloves, thank you. Boom. Okay, and now for the other tins. Okay, that should be every bolt in this tray, right?
So then we gotta one more. We gotta pop these connections.
Yep, definitely gotta get those guys loose. We're gonna stop being so verbose now because it starts getting smaller and smaller. The work gets more complicated and doesn't look as cool. So we'll throw this on a time lapse and we'll just get to ripping because nothing left to do but keep right on doing. A couple of minutes later, I've got the harness off the new engine and Josh has the harness off the current engine. And we jumped underneath, drained the coolant down. I think it's done draining at this point. We got about 2 gallons out of it, which is what its capacity is rated at. And I mean, the cowl's out, intake's off. It's about ready to pull this thing out.
Getting very close.
It's pretty ridiculous that it's been maybe an hour or something like that since we lazily started on this thing. So we had to move the new Prius engine, right? We've got this thing basically done here. Intake's off, coolant hoses are off, wiring harness is off, which means there's really nothing left but these motor mount bolts right here. So we decided we'd move this, and Josh was like, we can pick it up. I was like, man, I don't know, we could have saved our backs, but then we went ahead and just did, oh, are you just gonna wing it?
Then we just did this.
We each had one hand on it, and it was so easy to move. What an awesome engine.
If I had to guess, the old bacometer,
Yeah.
I'd say 147 pounds.
I was gonna say about 150, because that was, it was a simple, easy lift, and maybe the lightest 4-cylinder I've ever picked up in my life. Impressive, Toyota. So, now, time for us to get the engine hoist up in here and get to work. Not much left. AC compressor's hanging down there. You don't have to recover the cooling system or anything like that. Just drop the compressor. It's a high voltage compressor like the Volt uses, a 3-phase. Pull the bell housing bolts, motor mount bolts. Done and done. There are like, what, 10 cooling lines running into this engine, which is insanity.
The cooling lines will be your nightmare.
Nightmare. It took all of the time getting off all those lines because none of them would come loose. All right, we're gonna get some stuff out of the way, get to work, and time to watch a time lapse of an engine getting ripped out of a Prius. Huge hole under the hood of the Prius. We got the old engine out. Everything looks pretty reasonable for a pretty quick engine pull. Obviously, it's not supposed to come out this way, but it does come out this way. There's plenty of guides for it from people that do this in their shop. Normal people that don't have lifts. And everyone complains when we do it the wrong way, but without a lift, it's impossible. Because you have to drop the subframe, you need one of those engine jacking tables. I mean, not at all fun if you don't have a real lift. Anyway, we figured we'd do a little RCA of what was up with this engine, and this fell out of the car while we were working on it. I was like, seems like that could be a hole in an engine. And then the engine came out. And there's a hole in the engine. And that would explain why it is completely seized up. And when it first came out, Josh was like, oh, there's just a little bitty hole in the engine. You can see straight through the whole thing. Look at that, it's windowed.
Look.
Windowed the pan.
Knock knock, who's there?
I like how this is like a two-piece crankcase too. It's a bolt-together crankcase. Crazy. It must go together super fast in the factory. Like the bearings are probably in this and everything, and just bolts right together. Huh. Well, you can definitely see, you guys can look through there, look past the rod, you can see the light. Super funny. That thing oil starved, and that was the end of it. It was completely out of oil when the Firestone got it, I guess. We know what the problem was. Now we got to drop this thing on the ground and pick it up, since we can just carry the thing. Do a little quick cleanup, swap the other engine onto the cherry picker, toss it back in. How long have we been on this?
I don't know.
3 hours.
I'll just say 3 hours.
If this is a 6-hour swap, I think we're doing pretty well. Being that Toyota book time, I hope. It might have been a fight to put this thing in from the top, but it is in. And it's all clocked correctly, splined up. So Josh has put in the bottom bolts and put in the top bolts to wire it back up, put some coolant in it. There were some notes in this how to pull the engine out the top guide that said, if you disconnect the brake reservoir, you have to rebleed the entire system, which is actually true, because it's like a remote brake reservoir. Here's the master all the way over here, and the lines run all the way around there. And it would be a nightmare if you had to pull that reservoir. So we got it done, and engine's in. All the coolant lines are on now, except for the throttle body. Just got 2 left right there, super easy. Intake's got to go on, and that's it. It's just the intake. I guess I should put the bolt in the exhaust. Did you do it?
No.
Well.
You touched them last. That's what I was going with.
Probably 10 bolts left in the engine. We're just about done. We started at like 5 p.m. and it is now 9:43. So Josh is finishing the coolant fill here. We got some oil in this bad boy, and we're ready to start it for the first time, we think. Hope it works, man. Our Prius skills are fully untested. I could turn the heat on and probably suck some of that coolant down into it with that auxiliary water pump. I don't know, let's push the button. Again. Just hooked the battery back up, and for some reason, there's no key in the car, and it just turned the radio on. It just did whatever it wanted. I'm gonna put the key in. Huh, it just absorbed the key. Here we go. You ready? Let me turn on climate. And then heat, high. All right, I'm gonna hit start. Are you worried, for real? I don't know why you're worried. I've never been worried. Okay, here we go. It runs perfectly. It runs really badly. I think it's getting better. We kind of freaked out there for a second. It's running. I think we're doing well. We got 7 check engine lights to start with. We were really worried on that first start. We just shut it off.
Lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7. And we started it right back, and we were like, let's just see what happens, because we checked the oil. It was good. We had coolant. Everything was okay. And all of those codes were just misfires from a really rough start with no fuel in it. It seems like it's running great now. Coolant temp was 208. We've got the live data up here, and we had all the codes in the world. It was pretty cool. So I'm going to clear all these codes. We'll start it up again, and I think it's perfect. I think it's ready to go down the road. We just finished the coolant bleed. That was a lot of fun. And I think it runs right now. So let's get the garage door open.
It's crazy. I got a Prius.
A cheap Prius. Let's go for a drive. It's time. It's so quiet.
That's so weird.
That was professional driving right there. You missed the seat by a good 1 inch.
I'm a drifter, bro.
I've been drifting all my life. All right. Prius is sweet. Everything works. Coolant temp's 195. Oh. Right as I turned on the camera, we have a problem. I wonder what the problem... Oh, it's coolant temp. Apparently bleeding the coolant on a Prius is a crazy procedure, but we are at 199 finally after lots of fighting here. First drive is pretty angry, and it got up to 250 for a couple seconds, so we threw it in neutral and ended up driving it back on battery real slow. Now, air is fogging out of the system, and we are at 201. We're pretty much holding at the low 200 right now, and I think we got it. We got this figured out. So, the Prius is done. We'll go for one more drive here in a second. Awesome. Well, I think we nailed it, man. Driving very well. 194, 195.
We are Priusing.
Officially Priusing. 197.
I feel like a better person, I gotta admit.
Do you?
Not really.
Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know, man. We're back. The car is perfect. What do you think, Josh? How do you like your car now?
Dude, I dig it.
It's honestly like a really nice driver.
I don't know why I hated on it for so long.
We filled it up with premium and it runs like a champ. It was completely out of gas. And when we opened the fuel door, it stunk. Yeah. And it seems like it runs better once we filled it all the way up.
Totally.
And I think it's high compression, but who knows? Who knows? We should look up if it actually needs the premium or the 87. But racing seats are here and we are done with this car. Josh is just gonna drive it. This was supposed to take a lot longer. We planned on like pulling the engine one day, shooting a video, and putting the engine back in, but it was so fast that it just had to be done and done. So now we can get back to the truck. Took a little bit to deal with this, basically just one day because he bought it yesterday and engine went in today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.sharego.com where you can get cool shirts like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I'll talk to you next time. I just wanted to add a couple things to the previous video. People were worried about the high voltage side and working on this car. We didn't do anything to the high voltage side of the car. We left everything connected, didn't touch any of it. The only thing we had to disconnect was the AC compressor, which is one of the big orange wires. It's just 3-phase and the inverter controls it. So that thing is basically, there's no power to that connector or anything. It was no big deal. So we didn't mess with any high voltage stuff to do this. It was a normal engine swap and it took like 2 hours to bleed the coolant after we were done. It was a lot of bleeding the coolant and driving around watching coolant temps on this thing. So that was the funnest part. Just spinning forever, bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. Now we are on our way to O'Reilly's to pick up more stuff for the F100. The last box, I think. I hope. I got a Facebook message this morning that was like, hey, I don't want to bother you, but your Holly Sniper's here. And I was like, you're not bothering me. I'm on the way. What's up? I got your message.
It's right there.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Fuel injection. And Josh is out here in the Hurricane getting the Prius all set up, ready for road duty. I like it.
Daily road duty.
Whoa, that's a huge box. What do you got?
We got a delivery from Speed Daddy.
Speed Daddy?
City of Industry, California.
Speed Daddy coming through, it looks like.
From the City of Industry.
All right, seat rails and a seat. And bolts. Racing simulator seats. These are cool. Nice.
Really not that bad of quality.
Not bad at all. Do you think we can sit in these for hours while we're racing?
I think so.
You want to put them in a Prius?
I mean,
yes.
I don't not want to put them in a Prius. There's some holes out here.
So these seats were only $140 each, and that wraps up the racing simulator with a hookup seat. It is an add your own seat kind of thing. And you can pick whatever you want.
So we spent 5 times as much on seats as we did on the whole cockpit.
I know, right? The thing was dirt cheap.